Welcome back. Big 12 preview time as we get ready for opening day of college baseball today. I'm Barstool Mintzy, joined by Peyton Chatinier. SEC preview in the bag, ACC preview in the bag. We're going to hit the third major college baseball conference today, and a conference you're very familiar with as you played at second base at TCU last year, and you're still close with a lot of those guys.
Yeah, still close with a lot of those guys. The Big 12 is interesting, going from the SEC to the Big 12. The SEC is way more of a fastball dominant, ton of velo. The Big 12 is a little bit more of the off speeds, the changeups, the whatnots. Still a lot of good talent in the Big 12 here.
No doubt about it. Going to be a lot different this year with Oklahoma and Texas moving on to the SEC, as those are no doubt two of the premier programs in the league.
Yeah, Oklahoma has been dominant in the Big 12 the past couple of years. It's good for the teams that are still in it.
Yeah, no doubt. And starting with the teams that are still in it, we're going to start right at the top with the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who, man, great program.
Yeah.
Have been for a long, long time. They've hosted regionals the last couple of years. They hadn't been able to get out of it. But when I think Oklahoma State, man, they always can freaking hit, man.
Mm-hmm.
They play. I mean, I've looked up. You see 20, like when that wind gets going and that
ball flies there.
You see. I remember that they played a regional game against Southeast Missouri State 2 years ago where they were down 13-0 in the fourth and beat them 28-15.
Yeah, no, this ballpark. If they're home games, I'd bet the over most of those games. But I will say Josh Holliday's done a great job for them. There's going to be a lot of good guys. They do lose Bazana, which is huge. But this is a team that a lot of people are high on. They looked really bad in the fall game against Arkansas, but hopefully that was just kind of like a fall game. We're throwing everybody out there.
When you look at this Oklahoma State team, they lost 3 really good starters from last year. So the pitching staff, you mentioned taking overs in games. They're going to have to rely on slugging it out. But they've got some dudes that can do that. They got a lot of depth in that order. They got an All-American outfielder who a lot of people have as Big 12 Player of the Year, and Nolan Schubart. And, they also kind of deserve the benefit of the doubt just because they're good every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, but they're also in the Arlington tournament this weekend. So you'll get to see a lot of them this weekend, the Showcase tournament. You can watch that on Flow Sports. It's Oklahoma State, Clemson, Louisville, Texas, Ole Miss, and Arizona. So should be hell of
a lot of good games. A lot of good games.
Yeah. Next up, talk about Arizona. First year in the Big 12. Man, traditionally a great baseball program, though. Jay Johnson got him to Omaha in 2021 before he left to go to LSU, but they've still been top 25 without him. And I still remember just how weird that field is, man. That outfield they got at home, wild advantage because fly balls are hits out there because the outfield's the biggest damn outfield I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And you look at this team, once again, you think Arizona, really good hitting team, deep lineup.
Yeah, and they got 7 out of their 9 guys coming back that were starters. That's huge for them. They won the Pac-12 last year. This is a team that's really good. I'm very familiar with them as far as playing them. Ole Miss played them. We lost in the Super Regionals, and we beat them in the Regionals the year after that to go to Omaha. This is a team that could be really good. We'll see how they do in the Big 12.
Yet again, team lost a lot of pitching. Got a lot of questions on the pitching staff. Got to look to outslug people. They're taking on Ole Miss today at 4:00 in Texas, almost a near pick'em game. I'm going to be riding Hunter Elliott
no doubt.
in a near pick'em game. But it'll be interesting to see how they adjust to the Big 12, but they've got such a good home field advantage and a deep lineup. Kind of got to think that they should be very, very successful.
And with that thin air out there, the ball flies at that ballpark. Flies.
All right, next up, your other former school, their top 25 preseason, TCU. Last year had the 13-0 start, but then were kind of around 500 the rest of the year, barely missed the tournament. They look pretty damn good this year. They got some bad news today, losing one of their stud pitchers for the year.
Yeah, losing Abel, it's going to be crucial for this team, man. I feel horrible for that guy because he's an absolute stud. He was going to be their Friday ace. They were going to win just about every Friday just because of that guy. But there's a lot of talented players on this team. You got Anthony Silva. You got Carson Bowen. Hopefully Cole Klecker can come back to how he was his freshman year. And you can't discount the Los and the boys. Coach Sarlos. This is a good program. They're historically been really good. They've made it to Omaha the past 8 out of the 12 years or something that they were there, or the past 12 years. So I'm very high on them. Of course, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I love the Frogs for sure.
They got good. What was it like? Their home atmosphere was pretty good too. Did you enjoy playing?
Yeah, I loved playing there. They got the frog horn. They use this big old horn, and it blares super loud. It's a lot of fun. I still remember the very first opening game we won on a walk-off strikeout. I slid into home, went crazy, threw my helmet. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a good time for sure. I think they're gonna have a bounce back year. I don't even know what the hell happened last year for us. We started out so great. Um, they are losing Tolley this year, which is a big player for them. A couple other guys that they will be losing, but watch out for Cademan Parker. I think he's going to make a big jump, especially now that Ben Abelt is out. He's going to be a good pitcher for us.
Yeah. Well, TCU historically, they had a lot of teams that would get real hot late in the year and then getting that momentum going. Last year, a little opposite, but I'm kind of inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt just because, as you said, I mean, that program is so consistent year in, year out. And I think there's a good chance. I mean, they got an outside shot to win the Big 12. I just hate, man, losing your Friday night guy like that right before the year. That's tough.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt them for sure.
Those are the three teams that are projected to be top 25 in this league. But, you know, you go through the rest of the league, a lot of things can happen. Two surprise teams last year that made it to super regionals. We'll start with West Virginia. They had J.J. Weatherholt, who was like I guess he was like the 11th pick last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then their coach retired. So they got a new coach in Steve Sabins. And they lost some superstar guys. Like Reed Shumley was also elite. And, you know, I don't want to like hate on this program because I think they're a solid program, but hard to relate. You're not getting superstar guys like that a lot. And it's tough to replace him with a new coach. I kind of think they're going to step back.
Yeah, with the new coach, losing two guys that were crucial. I think Reed Chumley was kind of an underrated player. He was phenomenal for them. Great third baseman, obviously. JJ really good as well. I think the biggest thing is losing the coach. It felt like almost last year was their year to do it if they were going to do it. I think as well they will take a step back.
They lost almost like 80% of their pitching.
Yeah.
Still got some guys that can hit with a bunch of experience. Probably kind of a weird home field advantage in Morgantown. That's a weird place to go.
Yeah, never got to play there. Wish I did.
Yeah, but I've got a little tempered expectations, as I said, because of what I mentioned. I just don't know that they can replace those guys. Now, Kansas State, kind of a similar deal. Shocked everybody winning that Arkansas regional, beating Hayden Smith last year. And they fell in the super. Man, they lost some studs too. And kind of similar to West Virginia, you're a school that doesn't necessarily have that level of guys all the time. Still could be decent, but I think you're going to see a big step back from them too.
Yeah, they basically have a whole new team. I'm not that high on them this year. They do have David Bishop. They do have D. Kennedy, which hopefully he will. He was a transfer from Texas. Hopefully he'll step in, maybe make an impact. They also do have an interesting player as a JUCO guy, but he's originally from Japan. So shout out to him. He's gonna be hopefully really good for them. But to your point, no, I don't think Kansas State is going to be as good this year. I think they kind of went on their run last year, and it's just hard. Like I'd mentioned earlier, like it's hard to keep up with these bigger schools when you don't have as much money. It's the way college baseball is now.
Yeah. Next up, Kansas Jayhawks, who you never think about with baseball, but they really weren't bad last year. They're 15-15 in the Big 12. They got a ton of guys back. They might be a little bit of a sneaky. Like I think they might be able to sneak into the tournament this year. It's the third year of their coach Dan Fitzgerald there. Very, very experienced lineup. They have the transfer portal hard. They got some good dudes in Dominic Vogel and Cooper Moore at the top of their rotation. Vogel was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year last year. I kind of think they look a little sneaky with all the guys they got back and the fact that they, were pretty good last year.
Yeah, I think they surpassed a lot of expectations last year. I've seen stuff out there that they have projections out there to host this year. So this could maybe be the sleeper pick for everybody is Kansas. They do have a really good early road schedule, which I think will help them out. They go to Arizona State, then TCU, and Utah are all early games. If they can win those, their RPI jumps. They could be really good this year.
Next up, a program that has been really good for a long time, kind of fallen off the last couple of years, and that's Tim Tadlock's boys in Lubbock, Texas. You always think of Texas Tech. You think of, kind of similar to Oklahoma State, man. Just gets wild out there in West Texas with that wind. That ball flies out of that ballpark. They've been able to score a ton of runs for a lot of years. Pitching staff had an ERA of 6.19 last year. those Omaha squads had better pitching. This team kind of looks to be similar. Looks like they can freaking mash once again. And I don't see any reason behind like Damian Bravo, TJ Pompey. The lineup looks really, really good. I just, once again, I don't know if they can pitch.
Yeah, I think if you were high on Texas Tech, it would just be because you're high on Tadlock. He's historically been a really good coach, and but just for whatever reason, they've fallen off the past couple of years. Similar to a lot of these schools where they just can't keep up. They're losing too many guys in the portal.
Bravo hit Big 12 batting champion last year, hit 378, is back leading that offense. I mean, I think they're going to score a ton of runs. I'll also be looking to bet overs in Texas Tech games a bunch this year. I just don't know if they can pitch.
Yeah.
But Tadlock's a hell of a coach. Next up, Arizona State, blue blood in college baseball. You know, the history, go back to think about Barry Bonds being there back in the day. But they were 17 and 13 in the Pac-12 last year, which is a good league. First year in the Big 12. They've got a lot of power, which is good. They got a lot of experience in this lineup. The problem is I mean, I feel like I repeat it, but they've, another team that can hit and they don't know about pitching.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the consensus of this whole thing is just, do we have a weekend rotation? I feel like they should be better than they are this year. We will see. I think maybe going to the Big 12 is going to be tough for them, but this is, again, a team you think about Arizona State baseball and you think like this is a good program, but they just haven't been able to really do it the past couple of years.
This lineup's got 4 left-handed sluggers like Brandon Compton, Ken Vu, Isaiah Jackson, and Jacob Tobias, all stud hitters. Should be able to score a lot of runs. That's got to be a weird place to go play out in Arizona too, I would think.
Yeah, another place where the ball would fly.
Yeah, out there in the desert. But like I said, they're going to have some pitching emerge if they want to do anything on that. All right, a couple other teams to touch on real quick. Central Florida made the tournament last year, first year in the Big 12, kind of a small ball style, good pitching, good defense, not a lot of power hitting.
Yeah, this is a team that kind of surprised people last year. I think they're better than they've been in the past. They made a great run last year. They're loaded up with a ton of Florida heavy schools early. They got a good catcher who's a transfer this year. The main thing for them is just like we've been saying, man, can they find a weekend rotation? Are they going to be able to survive in the long ball? I don't know.
Yeah, they might can. I feel like they're playing a little bit of a different style, but they really could pitch. And we've been going through these Big 12 teams. I mean, a lot of questions about almost every single rotation.
Yeah,
we've gone through except for them. So we'll see. Maybe they got a shot to make it back in the tournament. They surprised a lot of people last year. Nobody saw it coming. The rest of the leagues, Cincinnati, you wouldn't think a lot about them, but they hired 17 and 13 in the league last year. Jordan Bischel, their coach, did a damn good job at Cincinnati, Michigan. They were the best program in the MAC for years. I remember when they were in the Mississippi State Regional a few years ago at Starkville. They're kind of sneaky. They're not bad. Once again, same problem, though, kind of similar to Pitt, like not really the commitment to baseball.
Yeah, I would agree. Now, they did overachieve last year. Like they found a way to win. They got Nathan Taylor. They got Boba this year. This is a team that could surprise some people, in my opinion. They found a way to win. And watch out. I don't know. I think they could be better than people are expecting them to be.
One thing to watch with them, they're 10-5 at home in Big 12 play last year. So kind of a tough place to go.
And I've played there. For whatever reason, it's not fun to play there. Like they don't bring in a ton of people, but just the atmosphere itself is not that fun to play in.
We'll be looking out maybe to bet on them some at home this year. Rest of the bunch, we got Utah, who actually ain't that bad. You don't think Utah baseball, but they won 16 and 14 in the Pac-12 last year. They got a good middle infield. I mean, I don't know a ton about them beyond that. They had the Pac-12 pitcher of the year last year in Van Sickle. And this 2025 staff, like you're losing that. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's never a good sign whenever you say they ain't that bad. This isn't a team that I think a lot of people aren't high on. I don't even think people know too much about them this year. It's kind of just an up in the air. We'll see how they do. They do have Core Jackson, who started 52 starts at shorts. At short, he's going to probably bat leadoff this year. Other than that, I don't really see too much.
All right, Baylor Bears up next. They were horrible last year. I remember it was like
Mhm.
they were getting their ass kicked every time. They were 22-31, 10-20 in the league. But they do have a team with a lot of experience this year, so maybe they can be a little better because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is they had a disappointing season last year, and then they're bringing basically everybody back. So I don't know why your expectations would be any different whenever you're bringing in the same players.
The one notable thing about Baylor, all their pitchers are left-handed. It's interesting.
Really?
All of them. Yeah, they've got a couple righties in the bullpen. All their starters are left-handed. So that could be good. But then, like,
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe that'll be
righty-dominated lineups is not good.
Yeah. No, I mean, they had like the worst bullpen last year. They are recruiting a ton of JUCO guys, but they only hit 42 home runs as a team last year. I just don't see how that's going to play.
Yeah, no, I just remember them getting their ass kicked in a lot of games. I mean, it was like that. And then Vegas said they were, I mean, like you can kind of tell how they make the lines. Baylor would be plus 300 or 400 all the time.
Yeah.
Houston's, I remember Houston baseball used to be pretty good, but man, 7-23 in the Big 12 last year, and I don't see any reason why it's going to be much better.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They did lose Kivett, who they lost him to Tennessee. He's a coach for them. They didn't do a good job last year. They have a couple good transfers, but I just don't know. They were also like the oldest team in baseball last year, and they lost a lot of those guys. So this almost just seems like I don't even want to say rebuild because they didn't have that much going into it. But we'll see. We'll see with this program. I've talked to a couple guys that are former players there. They're high on them, but then also you never know with these guys.
Yeah, they got an A&M transfer there. Who's good, the third baseman, but. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty rough. And finally, I don't have much to say about BYU baseball. I mean, I don't know. They were 7-23 in the Big 12 last year. They sucked.
Yeah, I don't know what they got. They do have Ryder Robinson transfer from TCU. Hopefully, he can make a big impact. I'd like for them to turn things around, but who knows about BYU? I mean, I just don't see them as a baseball school, to be honest.
All right, Big 12 Player of the Year. Who you got?
I'm going with a sneaky one here. Anthony Silva. He was a star his freshman year, had a down year last year, but he's got every single tool in the book.
All right, few options here I'm looking at, but I'm going to go with Nolan Schubart, the Oklahoma State outfielder, who's a stud. Yeah. Other guys, Brendan Summerhill, the outfielder for Arizona, was considered. Ben Jacobs, Arizona State's ace, also a stud. But I'm going to roll with Schubart. I think Oklahoma State. I just don't see how. He's their best hitter, and they always score a ton of runs. So. Yeah. I don't feel like the upside. Do you think the question, no Omaha teams in the Big 12 last year. You lose Oklahoma and Texas. Does the Big 12 get a team in Omaha?
I think they get two. I think TCU and I think Oklahoma State could easily make it in Omaha. Both really good programs this year.
All right. There it is. The Big 12 preview. While we're at it, before we let it go, we did the 3 major conference previews. Might as well touch on just a couple other teams because it's our last preview. Other than the major conferences, there's always a few good G5 teams. I want to mention Oregon State. They don't have a conference this year, but, man, they're always damn good. Mm-hmm. They did lose Travis Bazzano, who was the second overall pick. But they still should be really good this year, even without a conference.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really good. I also think ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, could be really good. There's a couple programs in there which maybe is to their benefit that they're not in the bigger conferences that could sneak their way in.
Yeah, another one to mention, Troy in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, really Troy's ranked top 25 right now.
Yeah, they're really good. I'll be watching out for them. Coastal Carolina is always pretty solid. The Sun Belt's kind of a sneaky underrated league. I mean, it's not bad. So I always kind of like to follow the Sun Belt baseball. But those are kind of someone. Grand Valley is always pretty good too. Going to be watching them. They got Vandy on Friday night, and they're plus 130. And Grand Valley has a good Friday night starter, and that game's in Arizona. So I'm actually looking at maybe taking a shot at that one on Friday night. There you go. Well, all right. We did the SEC preview. We did the ACC preview. We did the Big 12 preview. Now let's do the damn thing. It's opening day. Follow Peyton at PeytonChat5 on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me at Barstool Mintzy. Please click the like and subscribe button to wake up Mintzy. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff, videos, gambling picks, blogs. We're just going to throw the kitchen sink at it. Something's going to hit, some won't. We'll evaluate. Work in progress, baby.
That's right. And I'm already getting hate from you State fans. Let me just go ahead and say, if you don't like it, then be better, all right?
Fair enough. I got invited. Big State fan Lounge Dog, who's one of their active guys on Twitter, was hit me up trying to get me to go to the Ole Miss State series. It's like May 9th and 10th. So I'm like,
That'd be a great one to go to.
oh yeah, that would certainly be something. Well, that's Peyton. I'm Mintzy. Shout out Tyler Moody producing this. We got our 3 previews in the bag. It's time for the season to start. Opening day. Hope springs eternal.